The waiting is finally over, and the car world is now full of questions. A situation has unfolded that has surprised many people who follow car rebuilds and supercars. Mat Armstrong, a well-known YouTuber famous for rebuilding damaged cars, has run into a serious problem with his Ferrari 296 GTB project. After spending months working on the car, fixing parts, and trying everything possible to bring it back to life, Ferrari has stepped in and blocked him from getting the final parts he needs. This has stopped the project completely, leaving the car unfinished in his workshop. What makes this situation even more interesting is that it shows a bigger issue in the car industry. Many people already believed that some luxury car brands control their cars too much, especially after similar stories involving Bugatti. Now, this situation suggests that Ferrari might be doing something very similar or possibly even more restrictive. The story is not just about one car or one YouTuber. It is about who really owns a car after you buy it. Is it the owner, or is it still the manufacturer? This question is becoming more important as modern cars become more complex, especially with hybrid systems and advanced electronics. In Matt's case, the Ferrari 296 GTB has been a problem from the very beginning. Even after replacing many parts and carefully rebuilding the car step by step, it still refused to start. This created frustration, confusion, and a mystery that needed to be solved. But what started as a technical challenge slowly turned into something much bigger, involving company rules, restricted parts, and control over how a car can be repaired or modified. From the start, the Ferrari 296 GTB was not an easy project. Unlike older cars, this model is a hybrid supercar, which means it depends heavily on electronic systems and battery control units. Matt quickly realized that even if all the visible damage was repaired, the car still would not start. The main issue seemed to come from the hybrid battery system. In modern hybrid cars, the battery does not just provide power. It also communicates with different systems in the car, and if something is wrong, the system can completely stop the car from turning on. Matt suspected that crash data stored in the battery control module was causing the issue. This is data recorded during the accident, and sometimes it needs to be cleared before the car can function again. To test this idea, he sent the module to specialists. However, the result was disappointing. The experts confirmed that they could not fully access or reset the system because Ferrari keeps this control limited to their official dealer network. This meant that no independent mechanic or specialist could fix the problem completely. The only real option was to take the car to Ferrari itself. But Matt did not want to do that yet. His plan was to first finish rebuilding the car physically, making sure everything was in place, and then take it to Ferrari so they could not refuse service due to missing parts. So he continued working. He installed airbags, reconnected the hybrid battery, and made sure every wire and plug was correctly attached. He even checked every fuse late at night, hoping to find a simple issue. Despite all this effort, the car still would not start. Warning lights kept flashing, and the system kept telling him to go to a dealer. It was clear that this was no longer just a simple repair job. At this point, Matt made a bold decision that changed the direction of the entire project. Instead of simply restoring the Ferrari 296 GTB back to its original condition, he decided to transform it into something unique. He chose to install a full Ferrari 296 Challenge body kit, which is normally used on race cars. This was not a small upgrade. It included major changes like a new front bumper, rear diffuser, large wing, and wider body panels. Essentially, he was turning a road car into something that looked like a race car. When ordering parts from Ferrari, there is usually a system in place that checks whether the parts match the car's VIN number. Some parts require special approval, especially structural ones. At first, Matt was able to order these race parts without any issues. The system allowed it, and the parts were shipped to him. This gave him confidence to continue. However, he also knew this might not last forever. Once the parts arrived, the real challenge began. The race car parts were not designed to fit a road car perfectly, so a lot of custom work was needed. Matt and his team had to create new mounting points, drill holes for sensors, and adjust components like the reverse camera. The exhaust system also needed to be redesigned to match the new layout. This required creativity, skill, and many hours of work. Every change pushed the car further away from its original design and deeper into race car territory. But that was the goal. Mat wanted to build something truly special, a one-of-a-kind Ferrari that combined road and race elements. As the build continued, the level of work became even more intense. The rear of the car needed heavy modification to fit the new diffuser and exhaust system. Custom brackets were welded into place, and parts had to be carefully aligned to ensure everything worked properly. The large rear wing required cutting parts of the original structure, which meant permanent changes to the car. At the front, things were just as complicated. The race car bumper was wider and designed for a different cooling system. The standard road car radiators did not fit properly, which created another problem. The race version uses a central radiator and a special bonnet with vents to allow airflow. This meant that Mat would eventually need even more parts to complete the setup. Despite these challenges, progress was being made. The car was sent to a body shop, where the repaired areas were smoothed out and painted. When it came back, it looked completely different, almost like a real race car. However, there was still one major problem. The car still would not start. All the visual progress did not solve the main issue. This created a strange situation where the car looked finished on the outside, but was still not functional. Time continued to pass, and the project became more complicated. Some parts arrived, but others did not. This created delays and added more uncertainty about whether the project could ever be completed. The turning point came when Mat tried to order the final parts needed to complete the transformation. These included important components like wider front fenders, the central radiator, and the vented bonnet. Without these, the new body kit could not function properly. This time, however, things were different. Ferrari blocked the order. The system recognized that these parts were meant for a race car, not a road car, and refused to supply them based on the VIN number. This was explained by a part supplier, who said that some components are restricted if they do not match the exact model of the car. In simple terms, because Mat's car was originally a 296 GTB and not a 296 Challenge car, Ferrari would not allow him to buy those specific parts. This effectively stopped the project. Without those parts, the conversion could not be completed. This decision raised many questions. Why were some parts allowed earlier but blocked later? How much control should a manufacturer have over what customers can do with their own cars? For many people watching the situation, it felt like Ferrari was controlling the build too much. While companies may have reasons for these rules, such as safety or brand protection, it still creates frustration for owners who want to modify or repair their vehicles. In this case, it left Mat stuck with an unfinished car and no clear solution. This story is about more than just one project. It highlights a growing issue in the modern car world. As vehicles become more advanced, manufacturers are gaining more control over how they are repaired and modified. Systems like locked software, restricted parts, and dealer-only access make it harder for independent builders and enthusiasts to work on their own cars. While this can help maintain quality and safety, it also limits creativity and freedom. Mat Armstrong's Ferrari 296 GTB rebuild shows both sides of this issue. On one hand, it demonstrates incredible skill, determination, and passion for building something unique. On the other hand, it shows how difficult it has become to complete such projects without full support from the manufacturer. The comparison to Bugatti makes this situation even more interesting, as it suggests that this is not just one company's policy, but part of a wider trend. For viewers and car fans, this raises an important question about the future. Will car ownership continue to mean full control, or will manufacturers keep increasing their influence? For now, Mat's project remains incomplete, a powerful example of what can happen when creativity meets restriction. It is a story of ambition, frustration, and the changing nature of the automotive world. As the story spread online, it quickly caught the attention of car enthusiasts around the world. Fans of Mat Armstrong began discussing the situation in comment sections, forums, and social media platforms. Many people supported Mat and felt that he was being treated unfairly by Ferrari. They argued that once someone buys a car, they should have the right to repair it, modify it, or rebuild it in any way they choose. From their point of view, blocking access to parts is like limiting ownership. Some fans even compared this situation to problems seen with Bugatti, where strict rules and high costs have made it difficult for owners to maintain their cars outside official channels. However, not everyone agreed with Mat's approach. Some people believed that Ferrari had valid reasons for blocking the parts. They pointed out that race car components are designed for specific conditions and may not be safe or legal for road use. Others suggested that Ferrari wants to protect its brand image and ensure that its cars meet certain standards. This created a divided opinion among viewers. On one side, there were people who saw Mat as a creative builder being limited by a large company. On the other side, there were those who believed Ferrari was simply enforcing its rules. This debate made the story even more engaging because it was not just about one car anymore. It became a discussion about rights, responsibility, and the balance between freedom and control in the automotive world. The more people talked about it, the more attention the project received, turning it into one of the most talked about rebuilds online. To understand the situation fully, it is important to look at it from Ferrari's point of view as well. Companies like Ferrari operate in a very different way compared to normal car manufacturers. They're not just selling vehicles, they're selling a brand, an image, and an experience. Every car that carries the Ferrari name represents a certain level of quality and performance. Because of this, the company is very careful about how its cars are built, repaired, and modified. By controlling parts and access to systems, Ferrari can ensure that its vehicles meet strict standards. This is especially important for modern cars like the 296 GTB, which rely heavily on advanced technology. If someone installs parts incorrectly or modifies the car in a way that affects safety, it could damage Ferrari's reputation. There is also a legal side to consider. Race car components, like those used in the Challenge series, are not always approved for road use. Allowing these parts to be installed on a road car could create problems with regulations in different countries. From this perspective, Ferrari's decision to block certain parts might not be about control alone. It could also be about responsibility, safety, and protecting the brand. However, the problem arises when these rules prevent skilled builders from completing legitimate projects. In Mat's case, he was not trying to create something unsafe. He was trying to build a unique car using genuine Ferrari parts. This is where the conflict becomes clear. The company's need for control clashes with the builder's desire for freedom, creating a situation where neither side is fully satisfied. This situation also raises important questions about the future of car rebuilding. In the past, rebuilding a car was mostly a mechanical task. If you had the right tools and knowledge, you could fix almost anything. But today, cars are very different. They're filled with computers, sensors, and software that control almost every function. This means that even if you repair all the physical damage, the car might still not work because of software restrictions. In the case of the Ferrari 296 GTB, the biggest problem was not the bodywork or the engine. It was the electronic system that refused to allow the car to start. This shows how much power manufacturers now have over their vehicles, even after they are sold. For independent builders like Mat, this creates a major challenge. They must not only deal with physical repairs, but also find ways to work around software limitations. As technology continues to advance, this problem is likely to become even more common. Some people believe that laws may need to change to protect the rights of car owners, allowing them more access to parts and systems. Others think that manufacturers will continue to increase control to protect their products. Whatever happens, one thing is clear. The way cars are built and repaired is changing, and builders will need to adapt. Mat's project is a perfect example of this new reality, where skill and determination are not always enough to complete a rebuild. With the project now at a standstill, many people are wondering what Mat Armstrong will do next. There are a few possible paths forward, but none of them are easy. One option is to take the car directly to Ferrari and ask for help. However, this could be very expensive, and there is no guarantee that Ferrari will agree to complete the work, especially given the modifications already made. Another option is to try to find alternative ways to get the parts needed, possibly through third-party suppliers or custom fabrication. But this approach comes with its own risks, including compatibility issues and safety concerns. A third option is to change the direction of the project completely, perhaps by modifying the car in a different way that does not require restricted parts. Each of these choices involves time, money, and uncertainty. What makes this situation difficult is that Matt has already invested so much into the build. Walking away from the project would be disappointing, but continuing without a clear solution could be even more frustrating. Despite these challenges, one thing is certain. Matt is known for his determination and creativity, and he has overcome difficult projects before. This means that there is still hope that he will find a way to complete the build, even if it takes a different path than originally planned. For viewers, this uncertainty adds another layer of interest to the story, keeping them engaged and curious about what will happen next. In the end, this story is not just about a car that could not be finished. It is about the changing relationship between car owners and manufacturers. The situation involving Mat Armstrong and Ferrari highlights a growing tension in the automotive world. On one side, there are passionate builders who want the freedom to create, modify, and repair their vehicles. On the other side, there are companies that want to maintain control over their products to ensure quality, safety, and brand value. This balance is becoming harder to maintain as cars become more advanced. The comparison to Bugatti shows that this is not an isolated issue. It is part of a larger trend that could shape the future of car ownership. For now, Matt's